Final project presentation. Analyzing the SharePoint hack in US. Name Ali Tawil. SharePoint Data Breach Overview. A new set of critical vulnerabilities, CVE 2025-53770 and CVE 2025-53771, has emerged, actively targeting on-premises Microsoft SharePoint server environments. CVE 2025-53770 has a CVSS version 3.1 base score of 9.8 critical. This zero-day remote code execution flow is not just a theoretical risk, it's being actively exploited in widespread attacks. This pair of vulnerabilities allows unauthenticated attackers to seize full control of affected servers, steal cryptographic keys, and establish persistent backdoors. First detected on July 18, 2025, as part of the tool shell attack chain, this vulnerability has rapidly impacted hundreds of organizations globally across critical sectors like government, healthcare, and finance. Microsoft has released emergency patches, and the US Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency has added to, it, to its known exploited vulnerabilities catalog, mandating immediate remediation for federal agencies. Technical aspects of the SharePoint breach. CVE 2025-53770 is a critical RCE vulnerability stemming from insecure deserialization of untrusted data within SharePoint. It is a bypass of a previously patched flow CVE 2025-49704, demonstrating attackers' ability to circumvent initial fixes. The tool shell exploit chain combines CVE 2025-53770 with CVE 2025-53771, an authentication bypass to upgrade the RCE to an unauthenticated RCE. This allows attackers to gain initial access without credentials. Attackers only need to send a post request containing a serialized payload that the server then executes. Technical aspects of the SharePoint breach. Once authenticated, they deploy a malicious ASPX file, commonly spinstall0.aspx, to extract sensitive cryptographic keys, validation key and decryption key, from the server's machine key configuration. Within these stolen keys, attackers can then forge valid view state payloads, enabling persistent remote code execution even if initial web shells are removed or patches are applied. Affected versions: SharePoint Server 2016, SharePoint Server 2019, and SharePoint Subscription Edition are vulnerable. Even unsupported SharePoint Server 2010 and 2013 are susceptible. SharePoint Online Microsoft 365 is not impacted, but self-managed SharePoint instances in cloud environments are. Impact of the SharePoint breach. The tool shell campaign has demonstrated a broad impact across various critical sectors globally. While the identity of specifically impacted entities has been withheld, certain US government agencies have been publicly identified as affected. Known affected industries include government, Department of Energy, National Nuclear Security Administration, healthcare, finance and banking, education including academic institutions, manufacturing, energy providers, telecommunications in Asia. The consistent targeting of such diverse yet critical sectors indicates that the threat actors perceive SharePoint servers as high-value targets. These platforms typically host sensitive data, example internal documents, intellectual property, patient records, and act as central collaboration hubs, which can serve as a gateway to broader network access. This targeting reinforces the need for organizations within these sectors to prioritize SharePoint security and implement robust defense mechanisms. Legal and regulatory responses, consequences and compliance. Government response. The U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency rapidly added the vulnerabilities to its known exploited vulnerabilities catalog and issued urgent guidance for organizations to apply security updates immediately, enable anti-malware scan interface in SharePoint, rotate ASP.NET machine keys, monitor for suspicious post requests to layouts15 toolpane.aspx, disconnect public-facing end-of-life SharePoint servers. Microsoft's response restricting Chinese access. In August 2025, following the investigation's preliminary findings, Microsoft announced significant changes to MAPP operations. The company confirmed it had restricted access for participants in countries where they're required to report vulnerabilities to their governments, explicitly including China. Lessons for organizations. Immediate actions required. Patch management. Apply security updates immediately upon release, regardless of preliminary assessments. Third-party risk. Scrutinize relationships with security vendors and their access to sensitive systems. Incident response. Maintain robust plans that account for post-patch persistence threats. Key rotation. Regularly rotate cryptographic keys, especially for security incidents. Strategic considerations. Trust verification. Implement zero trust principles even with established security partners. Information compartmentalization. Limit access to sensitive vulnerability information based on operational necessity. Monitoring enhancement. Deploy comprehensive logging to identify exploitation attempts in real time. International relations. Consider geopolitical implications when sharing sensitive technical information. Conclusion. The incident's evolution from state espionage to ransomware deployment illustrates how quickly cyber threats can escalate and cross traditional boundaries. Organizations must prepare not just for the initial compromise, but for persistent, multifaceted campaigns that exploit every aspect of modern digital infrastructure. As we move forward, the SharePoint hack will likely be remembered as the incident that forced the cybersecurity community to confront uncomfortable truths about trust, collaboration, and the weaponization of legitimate security mechanisms in an increasingly complex geopolitical landscape. The lessons learned here will shape how we approach international cybersecurity cooperation for years to come.